All right, guys, so when it comes to inserting elements into the DOM, we've looked at append child, which is very common. You'll probably be using that a lot, but there are other methods as well that you can use, and I want to show you those in this video. So the first three they're all related. It's the only difference is what you're inserting. So we have this insert adjacent element if you're inserting a new custom element. Insert adjacent text if you're inserting text, and insert adjacent HTML if you're inserting HTML. So the way these work is they take in a position, which is going to be one of these four. So here I just put this example of a paragraph, and if you choose to insert before begin, it's going to go above the paragraph, okay, or whatever element you're using as a reference. And then after begin would be directly inside of it at the top above all the content. And then before end would be after the content, but still within the paragraph. And after end would be after the entire paragraph or whatever element. All right, so let's start off with the insert adjacent element. And I'm just going to create separate functions to run for each of these. So this one we'll call insert element, just so we're not in the global scope. And first thing we need is a reference element on the page. So where do we want to insert our new element? Let's say we want to do it before this filter items input. So we need to bring in that filter items input. So let's say document dot query selector, and I believe that has a div around it with the class of filter. So we want to choose that. All right, then we want to create our new element, and this could be whatever, anything you want to put on the page, whether it's a new list item or it's some data from an API, whatever it might be. In our case, I'm just going to create an H1. So let's say document.create element, and we're going to create a new H1, and then I'm just going to add some text to that with text content. So let's set this, I'll just put the name of the method we're looking at as the text. All right, and then to insert it, we're going to take the filter, and then that's where we call insert adjacent element, and it's going to take in two things. The first is going to be the position, which is going to be one of these four. I'm going to choose before begin. All right, so that'll put it right above it. And the second is the element we want to insert. All right, so now let's just run this function so that this code runs, and we'll say insert element, save that. Oops. And you can see that my H1 has been put above the filter form. If I change this to, let's say, after end, it's going to be put below it. All right, so it's just another way to insert content onto the page through JavaScript. Now, the text, insert adjacent text, works in a very similar way. So let's create a function here called insert text. And we're going to figure out what text do we want to choose, or what element do we want to choose to put our text before or after. I'm going to choose the first list item here. So let's say const and say item and document dot query selector, and we'll just put in li here. We could do li colon first dash child. Either one is going to give us the first one. And then on that item, we're going to run the insert adjacent text method, and that's going to take in a position. Let's say we'll do after end, and then we can put in I'm sorry, not item, whatever text we want, which I'll just do the name of the method. Save that. Actually, we have to run it, so let's come down here, insert text, save that, and now you can see that it's after the first list item. If I change it to before begin, then it goes above it. I can also do after begin, that'll put it inside, or before end, which will put it inside at the bottom. And this is similar to what append child does, right? So for HTML, that's just pretty much the same thing. We'll say insert HTML, and let's choose the clear button down at the bottom. So we'll say clear btn and document dot query selector, and it has an ID of clear. And then on the clear button, let's say dot insert adjacent HTML, and it's going to take in a position, so let's say before begin, and then we can just pass in basically a string with HTML. So let's put in H2, and we'll say insert adjacent HTML, and close our H2. Save that. I keep forgetting to run it. Insert HTML. There we go. So it's put before. If I do after, then it's put after. Okay, so again, these all work, and they work the same way. It just depends on what you're inserting: an element, a text, just regular text, or HTML. And this is insert HTML or insert adjacent HTML works like inner HTML. Now, there's another function or method that I want to show you called insert before, which is similar to append child in how it works, but it's a little more complicated because what you do is you define a parent, or you bring in a parent, and then you choose the item inside that parent that you want to insert your item before. All right, so let's create a function called insert before item. And we'll create the parent, or select the parent, which I'll use the unordered list. So let's say document dot query selector, and then we'll choose the UL. So that's the parent. Now we want to create the element we want to insert, which will be a list item. So we'll say document dot create element and create a list item. And I'm just going to add some text to that. So we'll say text content and set that to, we'll set it to the name of the function method we're looking at. And then what we do is select an item inside the parent where we want to insert before. So let's select let's get the third item. So I'll say const third item, and we can do that with document dot query selector, and then I'm going to do li, and then we'll use nth dash child 3. Okay, so that will give me the third one. And what I want to do is insert my li. I want to put it before this third item, insert before that. What's weird about this is you call it on the parent. So on the UL is where I do my insert before. Insert before, and then that will take in your element, whatever we're putting in, which is our li, and then it takes in the reference, which is the third item. So if we run this, insert before text, or what is it? Insert before item. Okay, and now you'll see that Oreos was the third one, right? This is the first one, second one, third one, and I chose to insert before that third item. So it put that, this is my element, my new li, it put it before that third item. What's kind of strange is that you call it on the parent. With append child, you don't do that. You just basically select, the item that you want to put it inside of, and then you call append child on that. Now you might think that since there's an insert before, where is it? Right here, insert before, that there'd be an insert after, but there isn't. So what we're going to do in the next video, and you guys can look at it as a challenge if you want to try it beforehand, is to create our own custom insert after. All right, so we'll do that next.